podcast I can't attend, and a goddamn dinner date in an hour and a half.
What are you talking about? I read the script. In fact, I have my lines for that first episode for you by tomorrow.
All right, awesome. Though I was actually thinking about trying to do them as a group or whatever. Just do them individually, and I'll piece them all together. Anywhere else, I was going to do a spell check on those before I had people record them. But,
I was going to say, there's a lot of grammar.
Yeah, again, this was supposed to be an alpha draft. I was going to have you guys read over it, and I was going to do a rewrite and an edit.
Also, the grammar needs a little work.
Again, alpha draft. I wrote it over the course of a couple of nights while drunk and at 3 in the morning. So
it sounds like lightning. The second
I always think when I'm writing. Anyway,
the driver way of writing a script.
Why'd you have to go and make things so
no, I don't actually think while writing. I just am terribly tired. But at any rate, we're going to do this thing properly.
Yeah, any point if we actually want to start, that would be nice.
5.
Especially seeing that Lightning has his things to do, and the other Lightning has to go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good for another hour and a half, so...
Okay, I'm going to count down to 5 from 5 again, and when I'm done, we're going to start recording. Got it?
Yes, I understand how the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule works.
Still keep on talking over the countdown. That sort of ruins the point of the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome. Fuck.
Nice one.
Yes.
Your iconic line of intro is completely messed up.
All right, hold on. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to End to End, the podcast where we talk about all things pony and a few things not. Join me as always, our lovely co-host, Cabralo95.
I was first this time.
That's right. I thought you deserved it after everything you've gone through.
I have astigmatism.
The only person who ever bothers to read scripts that I send, Joel Links the Gothic Hippie.
Hey, I read it.
Wait, I read it too.
Well, you know what? Joel's the only one who said so I'm giving him the credit.
All right.
Wait, I told you so.
I'm pro.
There we go. The strangest person I've ever talked to who, calls themselves a rabbit, Lightning Rabbit, 010K.
There we go.
I thought I was stranger than him.
You don't call yourself a rabbit.
I call myself AR. I call myself 2 letters.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. He's a relative straight man, but he's also the only person I know who calls himself a rabbit, so therefore he's the strangest person I know who calls himself a rabbit.
Okay, who calls himself a rabbit.
And the most American of all Americans, the amazing Lightning 2.0.
Actually, he's from Canada.
Well,
what?
Canadians are more American.
No.
Oh, his profile
Hi,
picture.
I'm here now.
His profile picture is Spitfire wearing nothing but an American flag. That's got to count for something in my book.
America! Is what it stands for.
It's just I just tend to make fun of North Dakota and call it Canada. So
That doesn't make any sense. And I'm Duhad.
What?
At any rate, so we have Lightning 2.0 here of the popular The Lightning Round podcast and fanfiction readings. Welcome to the show, Lightning. It's always good to have you around.
I'm happy to be here.
So, you are the the head of not only the Lightning Round, but also the Lightning Rounds, the readings that you guys do, and
The readings actually don't have anything to do with the Lightning Round itself. We recently actually just put together an actual production team called Nimbus Production.
Really? Well, you guys are the fanciest.
Which I am a part of.
Oh, well, bully you.
I might be in there. I don't know.
Man, I just hate everyone else in this podcast so much.
This is why everyone loves this podcast. You hate everyone in it.
Basically, we just alienate Duhad. Everyone else is part of everyone else's group apart from Duhad. Sorry.
I'm just the voice actor that's in every single production that no one knows.
Yes, you get all the lines and all the roles. At any rate, Lightning, I'm a big fan of your work. You're really impressive. You do all this different... Lightning 2.0, I'm a big fan of your work. You do all these things that are really impressive, and you organize all these different people. You've even started up your own production company. What's it like to work with so many fans that actually, so many unpaid fan workers who actually listen to you?
I'm one of them.
Well, listen to me is kind of a stretch.
I don't listen to him.
It's a challenge to get AR to listen to me. Anyway, the way that I do this is very early on when I started doing stuff and doing this podcast. When I originally got my first co-host, which was Robot Butterfly, she was the one that introduced me to a whole bunch of these other groups. She was doing work with Midnight Magic Productions that does the vinyl scratch tapes, and she was also doing work with Philly Games and working on their game Welcome to Ponyville. Through her, I was able to get in contact with those two companies as well, and that's how I met pretty much everyone that I know on Skype. And that way I was able to get a whole bunch of really good voice actors that were willing to work for me, just for free. And I really admire this fan base, that there's so much that goes on, so much that is produced, and all of it is nonprofit.
It is very impressive.
And so I needed to. I decided early on after I joined the fandom that I wanted to give back to it. And so the podcast is what started it, and then through meeting people over interviews and getting involved in other groups and stuff like that, I was able to make connections and get people to work for me.
No, that's pretty impressive.
That
Honestly,
sounds tyrannical. They get people to work for me.
I think most of the people who get into the fandom to start creating things do so out of a desire to kind of give back to the community that's provided so much for them.
Yeah,
Though
actually,
you are definitely one of the more successful people I've met who's been able to really just take that and absolutely run with the ball. You were saying, Cabral?
Oh, I was saying actually, interesting thing. Back when you remember the Brony census, right? That happened a long while ago.
Yes, I do remember
And
that.
reading that, there was a poll. No, sorry. It was just on Question Daily. There was a poll going on saying if you were like a producer of videos, music, or anything about the Brony community, over like 80% of the community is actually just consumers.
Yeah,
Which was I found very interesting compared to how much creative stuff is in.
What was this poll?
it was on EQD.
Yeah, it was a long while ago.
You have to think about how many people are actually really popular. When you think about the really popular people, you might get a couple hundred that you can think of, but according to the Brony census that came out, there's 7 to 12 million of us worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot
Yes,
of
it is.
people.
And the thing is, you have to remember Cabral in terms of number of people, who are creating compared to the number of people consuming. There's nothing wrong with the consumer. The thing is,
I never said anything wrong. Was wrong with that. I was just saying that it's interesting how few producers there are in the community.
The thing to keep in mind is that it's actually rather difficult to start becoming a producer as opposed to just a consumer.
Yeah.
If you want to do animation or writing, you have to have at least some sort of basis in that sort of thing, or else you end up coming out with stuff that's just really bad. I mean, you basically can't animate unless you have at least some sort of animation program, which can put you back a fair bit of money. You can start writing. Anyone can start writing, but most of the people who start writing without any sort of real experience end up finding their work appearing on sites that mock bad fan fiction, and
I do that.
Or read by Mike the Microphone.
Exactly. You don't
Those
want
are
to.
the best websites.
Yeah, you don't want to. Just sort of jump in if you don't know what you're doing. Even the relatively simpler, jobs, and you can't see it, but I was doing little finger quotes there because this is not necessarily simple, but even doing the comparatively finger quotes simple jobs of doing fan readings or voice acting, stuff like that, is also actually extraordinarily difficult. In order to do it, you have to have at least some sort of background in knowing how to do this stuff, or you have to teach yourself. Just to get a decent quality for this podcast, I've had to go through and buy microphones and editing equipment and all this crazy stuff. It's not something where you can just sort of sit down and go, I will create today.
And
I
in
do
order
the editing.
to figure out what's good is a lot of experimentation.
Yeah.
Like there's some of these people who are popular in the fandom now were just doing things that were utterly ridiculous that they thought was just a hobby. Just like I'm going to use Yap Lap as an example. All he does
is scream.
That's
all he does.
And
and look how popular he is.
He's extraordinarily popular.
Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. I think he's brilliant and he's hilarious. But I don't think he had any idea that he would take off just by taking the songs from the show and just screaming at the top of his lungs in his car.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a lot of it comes down to kind of targeting a market that doesn't exist, or kind of hitting something that other people want, but they don't
if you see something that's really popular at the time, and if you can make your own spin and make people say, this guy's really funny and I like what he does.
That'll happen sometimes.
Well, I think that this fandom has shown... what's the one thing I hear from a lot of the people that make it big on My Little Pony stuff? I never expected this to happen. That's
because you don't.
Everyone said.
It's not something you really plan, essentially, to become popular.
So it's really cool that this was able to make it to this point and continue to grow.
It is extraordinarily impressive. But the thing to kind of take away from this and to remember from this is that most of the people who really strike it big, they never expected to become popular because they didn't. They were like a lot of people who go into this want to be popular. They go in hoping to strike it big, but they don't really expect to be, and that's because most of the people who really do it, hit it big, are not the people who try and do what other people are doing. They're people who are like, I've got this idea, I'm going to try and do it. No one else is doing anything like them, or they just do it so much better than the crappy versions that no one cares about, that they end up just exploding in popularity and end up making it without even realizing that they hit the nail on the head. This is why you see so many people who try and do why you saw this explosion of people doing these comical reviews and stuff a few years ago, and really had this whole "that guy with the glasses" thing kind of take off in a big way. But the number of people who end up on that site and end up doing really making it big, doing that sort of thing, has severely dropped off. Is because as soon as something really becomes popular, it becomes extraordinarily more difficult in order to become popular doing that, and you end up very quickly saturating the market. Those few bridge series and things like that end up making it big do so by doing something really impressive. The Friendships is Witchcraft made it popular by having really catchy songs by musically talented individuals. The Mentally Advanced series made it big partly by having a very consistent internal logic to everything that they did with that, and partly by also doing something very unique with the essentially abridged versions of fan fictions with the Rainbow Dash Presents. The thing that you take away from all this is that there are all these crazy things that people can do, but you have to kind of hit something. You really, like, 90% of it is just luck, and like getting lucky and finding this thing that you can do that people want to see.
Yeah, also timing too. Depending on what things of recent went on, you can easily catch a hype in something and happen to be able to get popular through that as well.
Yeah.
Well, and it was kind of, kind of trial and error. When I first started reading fanfics, I'm like, well, this is really good. I like these fanfics that I'm reading, and at the same time, I'm like, me myself, I'm not a super fast reader. I don't read really fast, so I would go on YouTube and I'd look for readers like Mike the Microphone that would do readings of fanfics, and obviously there weren't that many to choose from, and some fics just didn't have readings at all.
Yeah.
My fic actually got a reading as of recent.
So what I did, and this was months and months and months ago, I started doing fanfic readings myself, and it was just me reading the text, trying to do the voices, which wasn't all that easy to do. When that channel got terminated, I wanted to start it up again, but at the same time, looking back on the readings that I had done, I'm like, I can't do these voices, and it's kind of stupid for me to try. That is the whole reason I decided to get voice actors to do the dialogue for me.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because I had a very similar thing happen to me with less successful results. I'm dyslexic. I have trouble reading, and I love audiobooks. And I was looking around for readings of various fan fictions. I couldn't really find them. I kind of thought, hey, I could do this. I actually have a bit of experience with voice acting and doing this sort of things. Problem with that I ran into, of course, was that one of the downsides of being dyslexic and looking for a book on tapes to listen to because you have trouble reading is if you sit down and try and read an entire story, it's going to take hours and hours and hours and be full of misreads and re-records and crazy stuff. So, I tried to get some more people, which is how I ended up meeting Cabral and Lightning Rabbit and all these other people. But by the time, things finally started getting sorted out there, it kind of fell apart. Yeah, so it's it's a really cool thing that you're doing and something that I definitely approve 100% of and something I try to do myself. But it can fall apart pretty easily. You are it is a testament to your abilities that you've managed to get this sort of thing running smoothly.
If you really want to do something, you have to stick by it, no matter how difficult it may seem. Regardless, I will say doing readings isn't for everyone because there's plenty of people who do readings, but a lot of them aren't really likable. So if you what?
Sorry?
Nothing. If you can be as likable, you don't need to be as creative a voice as Mike the Microphone or I can't think of another.
It also comes down to your ability to speak naturally.
It comes down to whether or not the person listening to you loves how you present
and how you sound
yourself and the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you can be this personality that just is like, God, I think this guy is hilarious, or man, I love listening to this guy talk.
Yes.
You can pretty much have somewhat of success, and that success after a while adds up, and you can have an audience build up.
This is one of the things, if you ever take a college radio class, that they really drill into you. The ability to continue to speak in a very natural, very flowing way without filling your speech with lots of ums and ahs, which I'm not very good at. I and ah pretty frequently. But
I thought that was natural there for a second. I thought you're going to and then
yes,
anyways.
no, sorry. Again, I do it so often that even when I'm doing it in jest, it ends up coming off.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. It's really
yes, but the thing is, the point is that if you can learn how to speak naturally, if you can learn how to give your voice a certain cadence to it, that people want to listen to. There you go. There's another ah. But if you can continue to speak naturally and fluently, you get to a point where people will really enjoy that. Man, now I'm noticing it all the time, and I'm just going crazy.
I recommend anyone listening to this to just take an improv class. It's really fun, and it helps.
It does.
I've never taken an improv class. If that sounds odd enough to you guys.
Considering how good you are at improv, yeah, that actually is a little bit surprising. You seem to be just natural at it.
Yeah, I've only done a drama class, and that's about it. I had no radio class or acting class other than just a simple high school drama class, and that's it.
Well, this is AR we're talking about.
This is true.
The physical embodiment of Pinkie Pie.
Yeah. Admittedly, yeah, I think a lot of your success, AR Cabral, has been the fact that you have a really good natural talking voice for doing this sort of thing. You have a very natural energy that, when you're doing Let's Plays and stuff, makes it very enjoyable to listen to you.
I thought it was just me screaming and dying at games that people enjoy. That and Delta making fun of me.
Yes, but your voice is, got a good natural cadence to it, which makes it not a pain in the butt to listen to.
Well, you've got the bright, cheerful you and the dry and cynical Delta.
Yeah, opposite. Actually, if you are planning on doing something, opposite personality is something that's great. Like, say, for any of the fans listening who want to get involved with stories, having opposite personalities that banter against each other is actually really enjoyable. A lot of people enjoy having other people make fun of each other.
No, they don't. Shut up, Cabral. You suck, you awful human being.
See, exactly, right there. Because a lot of this podcast, you'll hear Duhad, he just goes on and says, I hate you all, and stuff like that. Yes, it's sarcastic, but in a way, it's humorous and it's enjoyable. It's something that gets the audience involved, because everyone has someone
suffering
they don't like. Yes, exactly, right there.
Now, when I record with BT, then it's just then all it is an argument.
Bitter arguing.
I was going to say, on the subject of speaking, I realised I haven't said much.
I know, I was going to say, Lightning, you haven't said much. Let's comment on Lightning's voice.
It's partly because I'm
beautiful.
slightly tired.
That's all right, dude.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for complimenting my voice.
Gorgeous.
The thing that I'm annoyed at myself for my voice, because I love the whole idea of rhetoric and public speaking, and I love speaking in public in front of an audience, and I tend to pace, and I can come out with these really good speeches if I'm just pacing up and down and thinking in my head. But the thing is that I can't do that in front of a microphone, because I can't be pacing up and down all the time, and it needs to be somewhat rehearsed and stuff like that, and that is the problem. Because I love public speaking, and I can do it, I'd like to say I can do it very well, but no one ever hears it, because I'm always sat at a desk when I'm doing podcasts.
Rehearsing in front of public speaking? What is that?
Talking in front of a mirror, doing things like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not just improv.
Who hates their voice.
I don't personally really care for my voice.
Let me just say this.
My voice.
Billy Joel, one of the greatest musicians ever, despises his voice. John Lennon puts effects on his voice all the time when he was alive because he despised his voice. Yeah. You're not alone. Everyone hates their voice.
Because they hear it all the time. Stop hearing me!
It's kind of perfectly natural.
If you listen back at yourself enough times and work on it enough, you can get to that point where you can accept the fact
that your voice is awful.
And
see, that's exactly right. Because I absolutely hated my voice, and after doing these podcasts and going through and editing these, and back when I was doing readings and listening to myself speak for hours and hours and hours on end, it got to the point where I finally just decided, you know what, I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
Well, once you get to that point, you will start to see yourself drastically get better.
Joel, why aren't you a teacher?
I could teach voice acting to people, but yeah.
I've actually taught voice acting to people before. It's an interesting process, though. It's kind of a bizarre one.
This is coming from a professional voice actor, which I am, because I've done things for television.
Now you've got your TV thing under your belt, so yeah.
So yeah, I am going to be on a cartoon series that's going to be on TV. So I can tell you from experience, all these tricks. Like, if you hate your voice, you just have to live with it until you can get to
until
that.
Until you die. Sorry.
That goes for anything that you do that you feel sucks. If you think editing sucks, then you just have to keep doing it until you learn all the tricks at being a good editor.
There's an adage in the art world.
And that goes for playing music, too. If you hate how you play, just keep doing it, you'll get better.
As I said, there's a saying in the world of art, and it's pretty applicable to just about any creative endeavor you decide to set your mind to, and it goes, everyone has 1,000 bad drawings in their hand. So draw frequently, and, draw consistently, because as soon as you're done getting all 1,000 bad drawings out, you can start doing stuff that's really good.
Yeah.
And, basically, obviously what that means is not really, you have exactly 1,000 things, and you just need to keep on hitting it over and over again until it works.
Yeah. I definitely haven't got to 1,000 yet, though.
I haven't either, Lightning, if that helps.
Consistency.
Yeah, no one is ever, no one is born good. Okay, some people are, but, for the vast majority of people, you're not born good at just about anything. And you just got to keep on hitting it and hitting it and hitting it until you're eventually, confident.
Well, actually, everyone is born good at screaming, okay?
Well, yeah, but that's not really a natural talent that goes noticed by people. It's not an art form, exactly.
No one is born great.
It's like public speaking, then public screaming is also another
public
type of art
speaking.
form.
I would go to see public screaming.
You were trying to say something, Lightning 2.0?
Oh, no, I was just commenting. We're all trying to get our
cutie marks.
Our accounts and find our cutie marks. Yeah.
Pony references.
Yeah, that's right. We're, this podcast actually does have something to do with the television show, doesn't it?
Wait, what?
It's always limited to what you can afford and whether society likes you or not.
Yes. Now, of course, if you're listening to this, it's probably because society doesn't like you, and you should feel bad about that. But keep on trying, because eventually you'll do well.
You will eventually become me. No,
yes.
This is a terrible nightmare for most people.
Good luck when that happens.
Were we interviewing Lightning?
We were.
We were.
So
that was actually a nice little tangent.
Lightning 2.0.
Actually, Joel,
question: what do you hope to accomplish in months ahead?
Well, for those of you that have been watching my channel,
hello.
Obviously, the on Across an Arrow is coming to an end. I'm really hoping to be done with it by the end of April. That's kind of a stretch because that's I've still got like four or five chapters that I need to edit, but I'm still waiting on lines and stuff like that. But that will be coming to an end fairly soon here. I have already got the next 2 fixed lined up. I'm going to be doing a one-shot called Yours Truly. That script has already been distributed to people, so I'll start to get lines for that fairly soon, and that'll be sometime in May. And following that will be Allegreza, which is a relatively long fic, and so that will probably take me all the way through the summer to do that one. And so that's what's going on with the fan fiction reading. As for the podcast, being that
I have a squeaky chair.
Lightning, I think you got cut out there for a second. What was that about the podcast?
April, all the interviews are already set up. I'm going to be interviewing the team from Journey of the Spark.
How's that going now that technically basically everything in that movie has been decanonized?
Well, I guess we're going to find out when I interview him.
Which actually...
go to Lightning's channel and listen to that interview.
Yeah, it might already be up because this is a few weeks ahead of when we recorded it. So.
Oh, it'll certainly be up already, but
yeah.
The point
I'll link it here, and here, and here.
More work for Lightning, and here.
Please, someone timestamp that so I actually know when to link it.
Okay, I got it. I'm writing it down right now. So
thank you.
But the week after the Journey of the Spark, I'll be interviewing Jan Animations and the Ask the Crusaders Tumblr.
Oh, nice.
They've got a new series that's coming out, so I want to talk to them about that.
Yep.
And that's all I have planned so far, but there will be also conventions. Me and AR are going to be going to Fiesta Equestria.
We are.
And possibly going to BronyCon as well.
I'm not.
While we're there,
I might see Duhad.
You guys can go film end to end over there without me. Good luck with that.
While I'm at those 2 conventions, if I do make it to both of them, I am supposed to be working with Radio is Magic to cover the event. Which will probably also involve me getting some interviews from the cast and crew of So that's what I'm hoping for, at least.
You're a lucky man, sir.
Elia panel.
Yeah, interview Artist Alley, because they are the best.
Yeah, we're super cool dudes.
No one interview me.
Technically, I have a false agenda here because I work with Artist Alley as well. I mean, no, I am totally loyal to everyone.
None of us are part of Artist Alley. We're all totally.
I'm not part of Artist Alley.
Yeah, he genuinely isn't, but
yeah, he is.
AR genuinely isn't part of Artist Alley.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'm also going to be graduating from college in a month now.
Well,
and so
by the time this is up, you'll be out of college.
I'm going to have a lot more time on my hands, and I have a couple of projects that I'm involved with that I am going to be keep on doing, voice acting for and whatnot.
Yes.
And what exactly did you go to college for?
Wait, before we get into that question, we're actually long past overdue time for a break and the Nani interview.
By long past overdue, he means a whole minute.
As in, we were actually supposed to stop at about the 20-minute mark, and we're at the 30-minute mark.
Well, you said stop at the 30-minute mark.
Right back. Right after.
We'll be right back.
Right after these messages. From GAC.
Hey.
No, not from GAC. Can you write that in the chat, by the way, what timestamp it was at, AR, because I've already forgotten.
Yep, 24. 31:24. It's not too hard. I already wrote that down.
All right, so... and we're back in 5, 4, 3, 2... And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview.
I didn't.
Well, you were.
Welcome back to End to End.
Yes. That is the name of our podcast.
Righto. I believe we have actually had an interesting idea we might be able to talk about, but I don't know.
Say North Korea, I swear to God.
No. It was actually an interesting thing. It was going to be talking a bit about fan fictions, because I've always been curious. What was the first ever fan fiction? And how did this trend come about?
I've got something very inappropriate that I could say.
No lightning, shush.
Dante's Inferno was like the earliest one I can think of, since it's essentially a self-insert fan fiction for the Bible.
Interesting.
Wait, what?
Dante's Inferno. It's about Dante as himself going into hell, purgatory, and then heaven, and basically just like going on adventures with characters.
That's weird.
It's the poet Virgil writing about his trip through first hell, then purgatory, then heaven, meeting characters from mythology, history, and the Bible on his journey. It's essentially self-insert fan fiction.
Damn it, Virgil!
Written in the Renaissance, so
interesting.
Oh, not the Virgil I was thinking of then.
I was thinking of more modern fan fictions, though.
I was thinking of Greek
just single-handedly
stuff.
Called Dante's Inferno a bad fan fiction.
It is. It is essentially. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful, piece of literature. It's, but it is technically self-insert fan fiction.
He's no better than any of those people who are in fan fiction who write about
Lightning Rabbit. Do you remember that one certain self-insertion fan fiction?
Oh my god, that was horrific and yet funny at the same time.
I really wish to know what it is.
What was his name? It was like Bill or something. It was the most ordinary name you could come up with.
Your name is Bill. Okay. I'm Bill.
Born with special powers, and all of the humans were bad because they killed the ponies, and then Bill was captured, but they didn't kill him for some weird reason, and then he started helping the ponies and was alright with killing his own species.
Wait, hold on, this sounds like a slightly worse written version of the Conversion Bureau.
It was probably something like that.
It literally sounds like Spiders.
I kind of want to find it now, actually, because it was so funny.
If you want to see that, written slightly better, the Conversion Bureau, it is basically that. It's like, humans are evil, but ponies are good. So one guy becomes a pony, and then decides that he's going to kill the human race because they're evil.
Of course.
Well,
so why are humans always the evil ones? How do we know the ponies aren't secretly evil?
Wait.
You kill someone that's evil, does that make you evil?
That's the thing, I don't understand, because he's not exactly talking about, like, one human who murdered someone and he's killing that one human. He's talking about mass genocide of the human race if he wants to kill humans.
Sounds good to me.
Well,
does that not make him more evil than the human race ever was? Because at least the human race didn't. Well,
that's one
apart
of the main
from the
problems.
times they have done it, where it was only one person.
Yeah, that combined with the fact that he ships himself with members of the main six is, are two of the main problems with that story.
I say the human race should kill him.
There you go.
Wait, hold on. He ships himself with two of the main six?
Wait, who are they?
Who are they?
I mean, that's just like, one. You pick one. You can't have two.
Yeah.
Share.
Surely then he's cheating. So he's a cheating genocidal maniac.
Everybody gets one.
And the human race is evil.
That's one.
Okay. You can't collectively say a whole race is evil unless they're all in it together.
There are. Human race is all in it together.
Yeah, we're all in it. We all want death to everyone else.
The thing is, the way it's written, it actually does make constant references, little lines where it's humans are trust me, I was a human. I know that all humans are complete monsters who are genocidal, cretins who, there can be no peace as long as they're alive.
I am a genocidal cretin, everyone.
A week ago, there's been no reason for you to change your mind, but apparently now it's just wow, I hate my race now.
I would actually hate him more than I'd hate my race after reading that, because it's
I hated my entire race until ponies.
Generalization much. Just call the whole human race evil.
Yeah.
So Joel, you're saying that you are the character from the story?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I had given up on the human race ever evolving anymore. Until ponies came into my life, because
I don't want to anymore.
So you're just the protagonist of every Humans in Equestria story ever.
Mm-hmm.
Womp womp.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I hated how stupid the human race was.
You're not making your point that you're not the protagonist of every Human in Equestria story ever.
He has a point there.
Here's the thing. I do have something that I need to admit to. I have a guilty pleasure of reading some really bad fanfics for fun.
By bad, do you mean bad as in crass or something, inappropriate, or bad as in just terrible as writing?
Bad as in just poorly written.
I love those kind.
I think everyone loves doing that, like the Bill or whatever it was called. I think it was called The Betrayal or something like that. And it's just... It sounds really intense, but it's not. It's very bad.
When you were in the call and reading those fanfics, I found that to be incredibly entertaining, if not a little bit awkward at some points. But
the dome with angles like a stealth fighter.
Which one was that?
I think you were reading Lunch.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, there is a certain amount of joy you can get out of reading these awful stories. I mean, I'm a huge fan.
The microphone. He loves bad fan fiction.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm a huge fan of riff stories, stories that take horrible fan fiction and then basically just poke fun at them, Mystery Science Theater style. I'll just sit down and just read through, chapter upon chapter of just the most horrendously awful fan fiction. In the universe, with funny people making jokes about it, in between paragraphs.
I read Scriber stories.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. There's no turning back from a Scriber story.
And there's a bit of fun to be had in kind of reading this. So I actually occasionally, when I'm with friends, I'll just bring up just awful fan fiction and read it in dramatic fashion. I've done this one called the Soul of Love or something. It's a gay shipping story between Batman and RoboCop.
That sounds stupid. That concept sounds stupid right there.
Oh, the execution is far worse. It's about Batman dealing with the fact that he is alone and lonely, and RoboCop helping him deal with the death of his parents.
RoboCop is a robot. What the... What?
Also, okay, I can't actually describe what happens in it because...
Okay, no. My question is, who sat down and said, you know what sounds like a good story? Batman and RoboCop getting hitched.
It's far more stupid than that. Again, I can't really describe much of what was in it because most of it's NSFW, but I can say that the method that for some reason RoboCop figures out who Batman is and decides that the only way for Batman to be safe is to delete all of his knowledge of who Batman is. In order to do this, the only way to delete RoboCop's memories, something that apparently has to do on a fairly regular basis, involves inserting a smoke grenade into an orifice that no smoke grenade should ever be inserted into.
What the hell?
Wait. Run that by me one more time, please.
This is smoke grenades. That's all I can say on this podcast because anything else would make this NSFW.
Right.
That is as far as we'll take this.
Yeah, but point is...
line right there. That is the line, and we'll not cross it.
Yes.
Yeah, but once again, I have to ask, who thought it a good idea to take Batman and RoboCop, completely different universes, and bring them together?
I can tell you exactly who thought that was a good idea.
Your friend?
No, I thought it was fun to. Yeah, I thought it was funny as hell to read it. But it's there's like a list of like the worst fan fictions ever written.
Tom Goes to Ponyville.
But like there's this big list of like all these horrible things. It's this guy called Rob.
Okay.
Walker.
Coran?
Just Rob, but he wrote like a whole bunch of these type of stories, and they're all just awful. Rob Brickand.
Is it intentional?
I don't even know. Like, it's this level of stupidity where it's like you kind of think that he can't possibly be serious. On the other hand, it's like it passes the point where it doesn't quite hit the point where it's an obvious crack fic, but it's also far too stupid for it to just be like someone intentionally trying to do bad without it just turning into a crack. Like it's just it's like Squirrel King is bad, but you can kind of tell he's sort of a troll. But like this guy seems to honestly, legitimately like be in love with his own stories. Like he does seem to really care about them.
Yeah, but once again, if you do care and love for terrible stories that you're writing, maybe it is intentional of him doing that, saying these are brilliantly stupid sort of thing.
No, here's the thing, like he improves. Like each story he writes is better than the last. It's just still better by scraping its way along the edge of the Marianas Trench. You know, like he's clearly trying to improve, and like he takes constructive feedback and stuff, but it's just awful.
Not happening.
It's like
it's not happening.
It's just so bad.
By the way, I was looking for that fanfic which I thought was called The Betrayal with Bill in it, and I found this one, and the first line when I read it was this.
Is it safe?
Well, it's not bad, but it's not good.
It's Luna making out with Spike.
Okay, then that's
say it now
because the call can't just listen to us being silent.
Yeah, and actually, this is safe, so I'll go ahead and read it dramatically. Luna.
It gets worse, by the way.
Wait, what now?
It gets worse, but yeah, carry on. Read it out.
Luna brought herself closer to Spike as she kissed the dragon, her midnight blue lips against his.
I'm pretty sure that counts as child molestation, since he's a baby.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
But first, I don't have words, and why would you start a story off like that?
My dearest Princess Celestia.
Don't read this one out.
I'm writing to you saying that your sister totally abused my dragon slave thing.
Oh my
Sincerely,
god.
Twilight Sparkle.
Hey, I'm interested to know where the hell this thing goes now.
It's a baby. For God's sake.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, he just sent another text. We're not going to read that one. Anyways, yes. Fan fictions. There are terrible amounts of them, but there are also some brilliant fan fictions as well.
There are some really good stuff. In fact, I'm hoping to bring on a few more fan fiction writers in future to talk about how...
Yes, I believe we have a Cloudy Skies interview.
Yes, coming up next week, hopefully.
She wrote Twice as Bright as one of them.
Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about the various stories that he did.
Coming soon to end to end.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
But in the meantime, we actually do have someone here who does write fan fiction that isn't terrible.
Is it me?
No. Well, okay, yes. I guess it is true. We have two people who write fan fiction that isn't terrible. Lightning 2.0, though, is one that we don't usually get to talk to, who I'd like to have the opportunity to talk to about this. Especially because this is supposed to be an interview with him.
But I'm more entertaining.
Boy, oh boy, we sure did good with interviewing him.
Well, we did interview him in the beginning. We can't just interview people constantly, or else it would just be an interview show.
Yeah, I don't want to be an interview show. I want to talk about things. Let's talk about the moon. It's round.
No, we're talking about Lightning's
I want to talk about the moon!
We're not talking about the goddamn moon!
By the way,
yes?
That fan fiction, he gets out of it, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
Oh, God. All right.
Does he kill her? That better be the fan fiction.
No.
What is wrong with you? You're just monster.
Not at all what happened.
I like dark stories.
Climbed out the window.
He jumped out a window.
What's wrong with AR?
Anyway.
You would need a list.
I would need. But Lightning 2.0. You write stories. You write fan fiction, if you will.
I do.
Tell us about this fan fiction.
God.
Well,
Don't do it.
I've always had a fascination for writing, and actually, I mean, as early as like 10 years old, I was just writing stuff because I was really into like Zelda and games like that when I was really little, and I actually wrote a little bit of fantasy just for fun, you know. And then in high school, I ended up taking a writing class where we literally went genre by genre and wrote a story for each genre. So when I got into the fandom and actually started reading fan fiction and enjoyed what I was seeing, I was like, well, I would obviously try to, you know, contribute to that because writing is one of my hobbies. So what I did is some of the first fan fictions I read was shipping. I'm actually a really big fan of shipping fic. And one of my first like favorite pairings was Applejack and Rainbow Dash.
Yes,
it still is one of my favorites.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I decided to write a fan fiction off of that pairing. And when I do writing, I need to be inspired by something. And I didn't decide to write this fic until I found a picture, either on either with Google or A Question Daily. But I found this picture, and I wrote this 4-chapter fanfic off of that one picture. Got fairly positive reviews. I mean, never got too many viewers or anything like that. But I was happy with the comments that people were leaving for it.
Oh,
That's
okay,
good.
very nice.
And then that was the first fanfic that I wrote. The second one right now that's currently kind of being written. Whenever I decide to write for it.
What is it? What's it about? What's it about? Tell us.
Do tell.
Well, when we were when I was
Young
Warthog,
Warthog.
almost every, during the end of the second season, when I was getting into it, I'd pretty much every Friday night join a marathon live stream and chat with people. And there was one point in time where we got to the Hearthwarming Eve episode, and I got into a pretty deep discussion with another guy in the chat about just exactly what the timeline was for the history of Equestria. Between the founding of Equestria and the present time. And I decided to write a fanfic chronicling the events that happened between the founding of Equestria and Luna's banishment.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I think there's quite a few stories about that as well.
There are. In fact, my favorite of them, and a story I cannot, hype nearly enough, is Head Volcon Candy, which is the story of Discord, which covers that time period.
Oh, I remember that being a fiction.
And that's actually, the biggest portion of this is that my story is called The Discorded Era, simply because, between the founding of Equestria and Luna's banishment, that's pretty much all Discord's reign.
Huh. Interesting.
And, you know, I haven't gotten too far into it. It's only got 2 chapters right now. And so I haven't gotten into Discord at all, or the random headcanons that I have. Because I have some pretty interesting headcanons, but we'll get into that as, you know, the story.
Yeah, what we had you on for the fan discussion earlier, it gets, you know, the topic of headcanon is actually a really fascinating one, and one that unfortunately I don't think we have enough time to go into right now.
I think we already went over it quite a bit with MJ, but...
Yeah, we did. Actually, I think we should probably, you know, revisit that topic again in future. Maybe have a best of, you know, bringing MJ.
A best of people we've interviewed.
Yes.
We'll bring them all back.
All of them!
Yes. Actually, speaking of bringing all of them back, there is a possible thing we might be bringing Pinkamena back for at some point, but that is all in future.
It's
in
like a
the
school
future.
reunion.
No, we never said that we were going to always interview new people. It's a fantastic adventure where you never know what's going to happen next.
Sounds like a Disney movie.
Shut up.
Sounds like life, except slightly too over-expectant on it being good.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to expect. Will it be famine or...
Plague?
Terminal illness
Horses?
or what?
Pokemon?
Roll the dice. You might win $1 million or get cancer.
At the same
I'm not going to
time!
mention any specific terminal illness, but you've just gone and done it.
Dark, 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 dark.
Yeah, like the chat that was going on in the middle of this interview.
Lightning 2.0. It has been absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show.
And we scarred each and every one of you.
Yes, we did. But, you know, I encourage everyone out there who listens to the show to head on over to, what's the name of your channel?
I was going to say a therapist.
Actually.
We'll probably have it in a link in the description, but why don't you go ahead and say it anyway?
It's indubitably Ponified.
Indubitably Ponified.
That is such a
head
great
on
word.
over there, watch their stuff. You know, some of the people on End to End are actually on that, so if you like us, you might even be able to hear more of us.
When you say some of the people, it's one guy.
I'm on there occasionally.
Yeah, there's a couple of discussions that we have.
I'm on there.
Most of this podcast is on my, you know, for the comic reviews. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to assume that I've never been invited on there because it'll get too confusing if there are 2 people called Lightning. That's
well,
what
I mean, that was already this. That's why we call him.
It's not that I'm unworthy or anything.
Yeah,
like 9 o'clock at night for me.
And actually, that is the reason why we've been saying Lightning 2.0 because there's Lightning Rabbit and then Lightning. This one who just called himself Lightning, so I dubbed him.
I'm usually on his reading stuff.
You go back to our old Philly Games days, because I was around slightly before Lightning 2.0.
Yes.
Everyone started calling him Lightning 2.0 because we needed a way to differentiate, and then he actually changed his name.
Actually, I called him Lightning the Second for a long time.
Actually, that was another.
That's what I usually go with is Lightning the Second.
Yeah.
2.0 seems to suck as well.
Well, at any rate, Lightning 2.0 does readings that some of us here on End to End appear in. He does podcasts that some of us here on End to End appear in, and all sorts of other things that basically makes him like an unofficial 5th member of our group. But
I listen to both the podcasts and the readings, but that's about as far as my involvement goes.
That's okay.
It's okay.
At any rate, for End to End, not Lightning Round, this has been Duhad.
I've been the rabbit guy.
I've been that guy who has a Skype profile picture of Gummy in a car.
I need to change that.
Yeah.
And I've been your voice actor into the world of pony.
And television.
And modesty.
And I'm Lightning 2.0.
And modesty.
And modesty.
Thank you for watching.
And we will see you guys next time.
Please go get a life.